about the way this world is going, about the million things I still. Do we dream of another world, somewhere nowhere in the sky? Do we want to keep surviving? What about music? What about children? What about nature's quest to stay alive? Stay alive, we must listen, Stay alive, we must share, For a while, one must say, to stay where is mine, to stay where is
The option of coming and presenting your appeal to the Security Council to me so it could be passed on to the Council on behalf of the organization. It's a sign of political maturity. It speaks to your care and concern about stability of your country, Liberia, and it shows the responsibility that you're charged in handling your representation role on behalf of your respective constituencies. So thank you very much for that. And as I've already told some of you during the previous meeting, I will convey this to the headquarters of the United Nations, and I will make a reference to it in my statement to the Security Council on the 17th of this month. I think this is a very good example of how people across the board, regardless of whether they're in the government holding a public office or they're in a political party in the opposition to the government, or a member of civil society organization, or active in the media, or just ordinary people, find a common cause. They join hands and share their perspective in connection with how to maintain stability and peace and calm in their country. I see that you call for the maintenance of some form of presence of the United Nations here in order to provide assurance to the population of Liberia that your efforts, your gains as a nation, and the investment made by the international community is not going to be threatened, endangered by unexpected developments. That's how a common cause can be created when you think of the interest of the nation and of the country. And put that above all other considerations. I don't want to belabor this point any further, reiterating my thanks and gratitude to all of you for the mature and responsible decision that you have taken in order to eliminate the possibility of any unfortunate situation on the street if large numbers of people come out and demonstrate, albeit with the intention of it being peaceful, but with the potential, the likelihood of it becoming violent unexpectedly and unintentionally. Thank you very much.
Amanda, wait, we are moving. We are moving to the war. We are peaceful. Amanda, Matthew, we are brought a petition. Bati, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Amanda, but you Liberia, only country we have. Bati, we pray for UNMIL to say after the election, Amanda, Aluta.
Continue.
We'd like to appreciate the Security Council of the United Nations Systems, the Secretary General, and of course, represented by your esteemed office, and all staff and members of the mission for your continuous intervention over a 13 years period to sustain peace, enhance democracy, protect human rights, and strive to build the capacity of the different security sectors mechanisms to ensure that the viability of our democratic franchise is upheld at all times. We will especially take the time out to extend special thanks to you as a special representative of the Security Council here for your timely intervention on Tuesday during that meeting that you are called, which has helped to de-escalate rising tensions that would have spiraled out of control by the usual use of police, excessive use of force that undermines the existence of democratic governance and the right to freely assemble and the expressions of free speech. Our decision as an assembly or a consortium of institutions coming together to advocate for the 10-year extension of UNMIL's mission in Liberia is driven by our desire for national stability. And despite the usual threat of the use of force by the police, that should be more concerned about conflict resolution through friendly policing. We were humbled by that intervention you made. And so our decision to cut off that protest that should have been held today was inspired by our intervention. So we want to commend you in a very special way for the exemplary leadership you've shown. And we believe if this is the style, the practice of governance by our current leadership, there will not be need for protest in Liberia, because there will always be the basis for roundtable discussions that resolve common differences, that resolve issues surrounding democratic governance and national security. So we'd like to please rise up to say thanks to you and give you a big hand of applause.
Thank you very much.
With that said, the fact that members of the opposition political institutions will come together in a convergence amongst Liberians to petition the Security Council to extend UNMIL's mandate clearly establishes how much we want to work for peace and stability. The unfolding national security scenario constitutes an existential threat to national peace building. You will remember a few weeks ago there was a calamitous Rodomode that would have spiraled out of control when the head of the police department was in a conflict with members of the Executive Protection Services, our presidential guard. And in fact, the convoy of the police director was almost smashed by an armored vehicle belonging to members of the President's Security Guard Force. Then there appears to be a conflict also with the authorities of the police force and that of members of the armed forces, led by the defense minister, or a defense minister that has clearly declared support for a candidate going to 2017 critical electoral process And he did not just declare that support, but he was in fact visibly present in Lofa County campaigning for the United Party, using state resources, using government vehicles, which undermined the neutrality of the armed forces of Liberia to intervene to resolve challenging issues that will be impregnated with the propensity to undermine the rule of law. The history of the army between 1980, when Samuel Doe seized democratic governance or seized power through a military junta, human rights abuses, the Widespread Commission of International Humanitarian Crimes, war crimes, raping innocent children, raping the girl child, conscripting child soldiers into the army and utilize them to do brutal things. And the recent experience in West Point, when a little boy called Shaggy Kamara was victimized by bullet coming from the army that was just trained by funding received from the international community. An army that should have exhibited a professional civil life behavior consistent with international best practice went into a civilian populated area that was already burdened with the outbreak of epidemic, killed innocent people, shot at point blank range, a little boy. In the case, a warning signal that reverberates the need for the presence of UNMIL. Because already the defense minister has taken a side. He has avowed a declaration as a supporter of the vice president, who is a strapsman from Lofa. It was visibly on the campaign field campaigning for the party to which the vice president belongs, showing his open loyalty towards Assad. So the army is factionalized, because the army listens to the defense minister that is responsible, that was there to recruit the army from day one to today. So the army answers to him. So many decisions and mandates coming from the office of the defense minister is most often carried out without hesitation by an army that has just been rebuilt, that is supposed to reflect professionalism, competence, and respect for human rights. So if we are to go to a national crisis, we cannot rely on the capacity or the ability of the army to intervene objectively and save human life. They will take a side determined by the defense minister. So there is one argument that reinforces the need to reevaluate Resolution 2229 that was passed by the Security Council, requiring that by 30th September 2016, UNMIL would have significantly drawn down, leaving around 600 police officers as a managerial police force, and that the responsibility for governance, security sector governance, will be taken over fully by the Liberian government that is not prepared to preside over security infrastructure in Liberia. So the army is not prepared. There is maldisection. There was a recruitment process of around 5,000 army officers. As we speak, is now around 2,000 army personnel. They've deserted the barracks because of hunger and different problems, challenges, and most of them has reintegrated into the society again. So Liberia is vulnerable if we were to be attacked today by an aggressive neighbor. I doubt the Liberian army will come to the aid of the state in defending our territorial integrity. So indeed, UNMIL's presence is the only neutral political force that will fill or occupy the vacuum created by the incapacity of the army. The police. We would have thought in a post-conflict society that the president would conduct budgetary allocations to empower the police and not to empower her special guide force to protect herself above public interest. The presidency relies on the NSA and the EPS to protect VIPs. The citizens rely on the police as their only reliance for national protection, for security, ceasefire and crime rate, armed robberies, petty crimes. The police cannot respond because in the budgetary allotment of the police they can spend less than $30,000 per day nationwide operations. Whereas the NSA that protects the president and the EPS are giving huge allotments because they are supposed to be protecting bureaucratic echelon hierarchies of the government. We think this is a spiral and disadvantage that undermine the rule of law and leave the society vulnerable. The police need to be equipped. We've been calling for more allocation in the budget to empower the police to respond to emergencies. When people are attacked in their homes, it is not the EPS that go to their rescue, it is the police that are supposed to go to their rescue. But that police is under-equipped. So meaning the only confidence in the security sector that we in the opposition have got to feel safe and secure is the presence of UNMIL. A few months ago, there was a situation on the old road. I think your operational people will, have fully preview on this. I was on the old road and then I saw UNMIL personnel in their different gadgets doing a patrol of that vicinity. And I called some contact. What's happening? We see UNMIL forces in the community. Is there a problem? And they said no, they are doing confidence building visit because news of a drawdown has created panic in the different constituencies, so people are afraid. So there was a need for UNMIL to patrol the communities to re-enhance the confidence of the people in their presence as a business to expanding security and creating the psychology that they are here to protect them. That clearly indicates SRSG that there is a panic in the 15 political subdivisions of Liberia that initiates the need to readjust our resolution 2229 that requires UNMIL drawdown to a sizable troop by September 30th. We believe the police is under-equipped, and not just under-equipped, the police image has been so much destroyed that instead of running to the police when crimes are committed, citizens run from the police because the police have become a part of the crime or criminal orchestrating process. On recent, the director was forced to dismiss several police officers for armed robbery, and they have been arraigned before court for prosecution, which is a good thing. But if the police are supposed to be protecting us against armed robberies is now accused of the commission of armed robbery, it tells you how far we are yet to arrive with a professional police force. If UNMIL draws down significantly and maintains 600 police force, we think that number is not sufficient to create confidence, because governance, first and foremost, is about psychology, people's minds that they are thinking. The psychology of the Liberian people is such that they don't trust the police force. The only entity that have helped us to maintain the confidence in the security sector is UNMIL. If you take UNMIL away from us, we are vulnerable. We go to bed worrying what will happen the next day or that night, because the police has not been able to exhibit professionalism and conduct themselves in a way that will build the confidence of the people in their capacity to respond to emergencies that we harass every day, every night in the marketplace, in communities, and on the job site. So the police force is still under-equipped. Politically masterminded killings. A few years back, there was an embarrassing scenario, a tragedy that took place on Kowatown Back Road, when a critical voice of the government, one star Farid Zarif, the standard bearer of the Free Democratic Party, was gruesomely murdered in broad daylight with impunity. He had just dropped his kids to school. He had just returned to his home. Unknowing men walked to his premises and killed him. Broad day. As we speak, the police is still in search of the masterminds of his demise. 1 year after, then there was the scenario of Michael Allison, who was an armed whistleblower. Now, Michael Allison's history is such that he is the deceased son of Liberia's last defense minister in 1989, under Samuel Doe, who was butchered by members of the National Patriotic Front of Liberia, INPFL, Independent Patriotic Front of Liberia. He was killed and the body conveyed or discovered on the beach. We are not accusing any particular person for the murder of these individuals. Like yesterday, the mayor was laid to rest, Mr. Harry Greaves, a former commandant of hierarchies of the government. And today there's reluctance to find out the perpetrators. We don't know who killed him. We believe he was murdered. We are not accusing any particular person for the murder of Mr. Greaves. Even though, quite embarrassingly, the body surfaced behind the president's office. All these scenarios of tragedies indicates early warning signs that there's something wrong with Liberia. Liberia has not fully recovered. There are still serious security inadequacies. There are still lapses. If the police cannot arrest a criminal mastermind that committed murder broad daylight on Kogota Bike Road, how much about those in Lofa? How about crimes committed in River G, in Nimba, Granji there? We believe the rising political tension, because a tender for homeless persons for 13 years, direct budgetary investment here from the United Nations system, I believe it's around $7 billion. That's not a small amount. That could be invested in countries of other poverty-driven countries. But you choose to invest here for peace and security. And if UNMIL draws down significantly as it is being done right now, that could jeopardize all the investment and sacrifice that has been injected into our system by the United Nations. Because the country is still prone to conflict, mob violence, lack of respect for human rights, raping the girl child, corruption that has spiraled out of control, and there is a desperation by certain state actors to perpetuate themselves into power because they are being held liable for corruption, different kinds of crimes that requires an accountable system of governance. So people want to maintain themselves in power. They are choosing an exit strategy to extend their terror chain. What if, in the worst case scenario, as an argument, that a favorite of a specific government agent does not win elections, with the defense minister as a partisan of that party supporting that candidate, and the opposition is denied victory that they deserve and chooses to express democratic franchise of protest, with the defense minister not deploy the full weight of the army against peaceful civilians? There was a scenario of recent. The police is responsible to institutionalize the rule of law and protect life and property, not the army. But yet, a few months ago, the defense minister was already threatening national peace. And anybody goes into the street to protest, they will be met with the full weight of the army. So there is a misunderstanding between the role of the police in civilian life and the intervening role of the army in our democratic franchise. So that is an early warning that if the defense minister can take the airwave 3 months ago and threaten peace and threaten to use the full force of the army against peaceful civilians, what else will happen in 2017 when his party loses elections and people feel disenfranchised and decide to express peaceful protest? We can guess the outcome. Our confidence in national governance is strengthened and enhanced by the confidence and by the presence of UNMIL. We insist. We want peace. We are inspired by UNMIL's presence, and the way to protect the peace is for the Security Council to kindly, for the sake of national stability, reconsider the last resolution that requires a substantive drawdown of UNMIL strength in Liberia and turn over security to the Liberian government. The government is not ready. And this is not an argument. President Sullivan stresses argument herself. She has emphasized national security inadequacies and lapses that will undermine the rule of law. More violence. It appears to us the only role of the police is to prevent protest. It appears to us the only training the police have got impacted is to prevent protest. The police only gets activated when government wants to clamp down on free speech and prevent the assembly of people to express democratic franchise. That's when you see them with rubber gadget, ninja clothes, someone said before, tear gases, sometimes with stones. A democracy where the police knows how to throw stones at protesters is a dangerous democracy. Like SRSG, we want the presence of UNMIL to be extended, to build our confidence as a people that believe in peace and the rule of law. With that said, we want to also apologize for being late. The traffic situation coupled with the police presence, it has created an impeding in the traffic scenario. So we apologize for that. And we want to present to you this petition, which is written and documented for you to kindly convey this message, not just to the Security Council in person, but that it constitutes part of your report. We, institutions of governance in Liberia in opposition, are among the most dominant political institutions. The Congress for Democratic Change, the All Liberian Party, the NPC, etc., and other political institutions, some of the other institutions that have assembled together for a common cause. Because we want peace. And the only medium through which peace can be restored or sustained in Liberia is the medium of the sustainability of UNMIL's presence in Liberia to protect the peace, protect our security franchise, and ensure that confidence is re-injected in our security sector mechanism. Thank you very much, and may God bless you and extend your life. We hope that they don't recall you very soon because you are a very good man. We want you to spend some more time with us. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Where is the statement? Do you have a copy of the statement?
We are giving it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, symbolically, we will just present it.
Yes.
And then we'll give you another copy.
Just to assure you that I've taken very careful note of your statement. And once again, I reiterate my commitment to very faithfully convey your sentiments and to inform the Secretary General as well as the Security Council members of the feelings, the emotions, and the lingering concerns about the state of stability and calm in Liberia. And as I've told you, the decision on the future of UNMIL rests with the Security Council, and for that reason they have asked us to prepare a very comprehensive report that will be based on a strategic assessment, bringing people, experts from headquarters, joining us here with our colleagues, and in the course of their almost 2 weeks presence in September, they'll be looking at all issues pertinent to overall security situation in Liberia. They'll talk to all political parties, to security institutions, civil society organizations, to government institutions, and to the diplomatic community. They'll travel around the country. They'll prepare a very careful analysis of the security conditions on the country, and this will be then the basis on which the Security Council take a decision on the future engagement of the United Nations in Liberia. So you can rest assured that any decision that will be taken by the Council at the end of this year will be a very deliberate one, very well-informed one. And as you can imagine, the Security Council does not wish to risk all the gains of the past 13 years of Liberians and of the international community in Liberia. For that reason, they'll be very conscious of the need for remaining engaged and continue to provide support to the government institutions in charge of security here to ensure that security will be sustained and consolidated. In the meantime, with whatever capacity we possess inside UNMIL, we will continue to impart the training and professional competence of the security institutions. I just came back from a meeting of Joint Implementation Group where the Minister of Justice was presiding, and I'm one of the co-chairmen together with the American ambassador and a number of other key supporters of Liberia in the international community. We were talking about how we could sharpen our focus on critical issues that matter to the security transition, and we of course constantly are mindful of the gaps that still exist there, and that's a priority area of concern. We try to infuse additional resources in order to bridge those gaps. Hopefully by the time the Council takes a decision, we would have effectively and appropriately tick the boxes that are needed in order to enhance the quality of security and protection provided by the institutions of Liberia, including some of the points that you have raised. And these are common knowledge. People, including those in the government, do not disagree with it. So we are joining hands in order to make sure that the Council decides one way or the other. All the appropriate measures are in place for the people in Liberia to feel confident and assured of their security. And of course, to that end, the role that each one of you play as representatives of segments of the Liberian people is also very important. While it is your democratic right to disagree with one another and with the government, it is your shared responsibility to make sure that you do not engage in anything that would provoke violence and cause a threat and danger to the stability of your beloved country. So thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Do we care? Do we worry about the way this world is going? About the million things I still. Do we dream of another world somewhere nowhere in the skies? Do we want to keep surviving? What about music? What about children? What about nature's quest to stay alive? Stay alive, we must listen. Stay alive, we must share. For